Hi guys. Wow. Interesting ending to say the least. Very subtle, very well played by the author, very well written, and frankly, really kind of enjoyable. I mean, we get this story, we get this idea, we see this in our mind's eye, this character, and she's looking, she's daydreaming, she's being described, and then all of a sudden, you know, it kind of we kind of fade to gray, and we start getting this really kind of heart-wrenching story, this heart-wrenching situation in which, you know, even the doctor is exhausted. Now, this is into a time, this daydream happens within time, obviously, within things like inoculations weren't common, that people got diseases a lot more, so these doctors, you know, were at their wits' end a lot of times with this stuff. You know, it starts to, we can kind of see that there's something not quite right about the situation, you know, altogether from the beginning, with Nellie wanting to, you know, talk with the doctor and so insistent. And the idea is pretty evident. As we go along and as we continue on with the story, and she becomes more and more intense and more desperate with the doctor to save her husband. You know, things start getting a little weird, quite frankly. And then that can be a clue, obviously, that this isn't really happening. But we get all these emotions played with us, and we know we feel sympathy, we feel empathy, we feel sadness, you know, we feel for all these kind of things, and then at the end, it was all a dream, and that really is first off kind of great if you can pull it off very well in a short story. Annoys the crap out of you if it's the season or the series finale of everything, like Lost or one of the seasons of the 1970s or 80s Dallas or something like that. Oh, Dallas, I'm in Dallas. Okay. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But so, you know, if you guys ever become television executives and writers and stuff like that, don't make it don't make it was all a dream. Just don't do it. Don't do that to your fans. Don't do that to anyone. It's awful. Anyway, but, you know, I love the last line. I mean, it's very kind of memorable, and it's one of those things where, you know, she was holding it, and all of a sudden what brings her back to reality is that crash, you know, that sound of the, you know, the looking glass, you know, falling and shattering, all that kind of stuff, and she's like, oh, I must have fallen asleep with a sigh of relief. You know, that's not her life, that's not what's going on, that's not what she's dealing with, that's not what she's like, that's not what her, you know, still daydreaming of that husband, you know, those sort of things. And it's a relief to her that in her wildest fantasies, it's this really kind of depressing scenario. So yeah, it's a pretty memorable ending, one that's very well played, one that's very subtle by the end of it, but very impactful. And so hopefully you noticed, you know, just like, you know, this is the memorable endings unit, and hopefully, you know, even though there wasn't a big explosion at the end, maybe there wasn't a big twist, and maybe we didn't find out who the quick killer really was, or that, you know, it was the, you know, the other, you know, the main character's alternate personality, or, you know, all those sort of big twists. But instead, it's very subtle. It's very matter of fact, and we, even as Nellie, feel that sigh of relief that that's not her life. And so we go from basically this kind of, you know, shallow idea to this woman desperately trying to fight for the life of her husband, back to the shallow identity. And so it's really kind of an interesting move, you know, by the author. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It wasn't a super long read. Walter Mitty's even shorter. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys took note of the important things in there. The fact that some of the most impactful endings do not have to be massive twists, but in fact can be subtle realizations, subtle explanations. And we'll see a little bit more of that here in a minute. So what I need you to do now that you've read this one, take the looking glass quiz, take the do the blog, and then what I need you to do is go ahead and click on your Walter Mitty pre-lecture, and we'll get started with that, guys. All right, good job.